It is the end of an era at Toronto FC. Jozy Altidore has reportedly been bought out by the club and is signing as a free agent with the New England Revolution. Jozy's time at Toronto FC, I think, can be perfectly encapsulated by the saying, "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain." His 7-year tenure at Toronto FC is almost perfectly divided into two halves. The first half, where he is a club legend and hero, being a crucially important part of an MLS Cup championship, an MLS Cup final run, and a CONCACAF Champions League final run. And then the second half, where he took up a designated player spot while feuding with management and constantly being injured. Altidore came to Toronto FC prior to the 2015 season after being straight swapped in a trade for Jermaine Defoe. Jozy scored 13 goals in 25 appearances for TFC in that first season, helping them reach the playoffs for the first ever time in their existence. The following year, in 2016, was when the legend of Jozy Altidore grew. If 2015 was Sebastian Giovinco's year of TFC, 2016 was Jozy Altidore's. Despite just 10 goals and 23 appearances in Major League Soccer, in the playoffs, Jozy was a monster, scoring 5 goals in 6 games and being a ginormous part of Toronto FC making it to MLS Cup final. In the final of that game, he was famously robbed by Stephen Fry's off the goal line, hand behind him save in a game where Toronto FC inevitably lost on penalties, despite Seattle not having a single shot throughout the entire 120 minutes of regulation and extra time. In 2017, he had by far his best season in Toronto FC, scoring 15 goals in 27 regular season MLS games and scoring 2 goals in 4 playoff appearances, including the famous winner against Seattle in the 2017 MLS Cup final, clinching MLS Cup for Toronto FC and earning the award for MLS Cup MVP. Add in 1 goal in the Canadian Championship, and Jozy was a crucial part of that treble-winning team that remains to be the only team in Major League Soccer that has ever won the domestic treble. And then came the 2018 season, which initially saw Jozy hit possibly his highest highs of Toronto FC, as at the beginning of the year in the 2018 CONCACAF Champions League, Jozy scored 3 goals in that competition and was just a dominant presence throughout the entire Champions League run. Crucial part of TFC making it to the final, but unfortunately he was hurt in the final game of that competition, and as a result only managed to play 13 games in Major League Soccer that season. Now, in those 13 games in MLS that season, he managed 7 goals, and he scored 3 goals in 3 appearances in the Canadian Championship, being a major part of TFC winning the 2018 Canadian Championship. However, the injury bug, which had always been a problem for him, seemed to really pick up in 2018 and continued into further seasons. In 2019, again, when he was on the pitch, he was incredibly solid, scoring 11 goals in just 22 regular season appearances. The problem is he only made 22 regular season appearances for Toronto FC and missed the entire playoff run, with the exception of the last little bit of MLS Cup, where he came on late and scored a goal when TFC was already down, but it was obvious he wasn't fully healthy. And despite TFC not really feeling the presence of his absence for most of that playoff run, in the final it became evident that a fully healthy Jozy Altidore playing the full 90 minutes could have been a game changer. Now, prior to the 2019 season, he had signed a 3-year contract extension for 2020, 2021, and 2022. And then he was hurt for most of the 2019 season. So obviously people, with the new contract extension picking up in 2020, leading him to be a designated player still for Toronto FC, a little bit of concern was being thrown around. And in 2020, we saw the drop-off. Following his mid-season injury in 2019, he seemed to never really pick it up, only making 13 appearances in the regular season in Major League Soccer, plus 2 extra appearances split between the MLS's back playoffs and the MLS playoffs. He scored 2 goals in 15 appearances that season. And many times when he came back from injury, it was very obvious that he wasn't fully ready to go, and he would quickly get injured or visibly on the pitch just be in pain, and you could see it in his play, and it was just honestly a little depressing to watch. But then the 2021 season started, and new coach, maybe things can pick up for Jozy Altidore. And then he starts the season off injured, and then gets into a fight with head coach at the time, Chris Armas, over being subbed off of a game where it was his first game back from injury, and apparently he was upset he hadn't played the full 90 minutes, but at that point I don't think Jozy had played a full 90 minutes in a game in over a year at least. So it was an interesting fight to say the least, and he was sent off to train on his own without the team for about 6 weeks until Chris Armas was fired, and then he was brought back into the team when Javier Perez came in, only to continue getting injured and not being able to play regularly. When it was all said and done, Jozy only played 16 games for Toronto FC, and many of them were plagued with him getting injured halfway through and having to leave early or coming on late and obviously not being fully fit. But he did manage 4 goals in those 16 games. And the common theme with all 4 of those goals that he scored was it was showing that, and this is the most depressing part, when he is even moderately healthy, he is still a consistent goal-scoring threat in Major League Soccer. The problem with him isn't talent or ability at all, it's staying healthy. But after 2+ seasons where he had been regularly injured, fighting with management, and just generally not ready to go for over half of each season, everyone knew coming into this year that Jozy Altidore had to go. And he fell victim to the major downside of being a designated player in MLS. And that is because your team can only have 3 designated players. If you're not performing as a designated player, you're gotta get out. It's perform or leave in Major League Soccer in the designated player game, because unless all 3 designated players are performing to the best of their capabilities, MLS Cup is all but out of your reach. And so, following the 2021 season, we all knew that Jozy Altidore was going to be gone. Ali Curtis mentioned it, and then Bob Bradley was quiet about it, but we all knew that the Jozy Altidore reign had to come to an end. And then following the Lorenzo Insigne signing, we knew a designated player spot had to be opened up, and so Jozy Altidore had to go. And now, here it is. We are buying out Jozy Altidore, the end of an era for TFC. Hopefully, we remember him for his first 4 seasons of Toronto FC. The last 2.5 seasons put a very large stain on his legacy with the team. But I think as time rolls on, we'll forget those last 2 seasons and remember the Jozy that took us to an MLS Cup final, won us an MLS Cup, took us to a CONCACAF Champions League final, and was the 2nd highest all-time goal scorer in Toronto FC history. Now, that was a lot of talking about TFC when he's going to New England. I just have one thing to say to New England. Actually, 2 things. First off, you sign Omar Gonzalez and Jozy Altidore off of free agency the season after you win the Supporters' Shield. Are you guys good? Like, I'm seriously concerned because those aren't winning signings in Major League Soccer. I mean, I get if you get them for a lot cheaper than TFC has them, which you probably do, they could be useful. And Jozy Altidore, by all means, is still a useful player when he's healthy and maybe a change of scenery, and maybe if New England has a better medical team, Jozy could be a useful substitute depth option off the bench regularly for New England. But Omar Gonzalez and Jozy Altidore, yeah. That is not a winning recipe as a Toronto FC fan from the last 2 seasons. So best of luck to Jozy Altidore in New England. I really hope that without the pressure of being a designated player, you turn it on and are a fantastic substitute option. Jozy Altidore, honestly, as a non-designated player, is the perfect super sub right now in Major League Soccer. So best of luck in New England. I think in a super sub role, he will be fantastic. And I think that that is probably what is best for him right now. Thanks for the trophies. We'll try just to remember that part of your time here. That is it for this video. As always, if you like to hit like, if you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.